So I think the biggest pain that we're solving is guest communication. Oftentimes people are going to a resort for the first time, or they may only go there a couple of times a year. And in doing so, they don't have a real familiarity with the space. Winter Park, for example, is over 3,000 acres, multiple lodges, multiple lifts, 27 lifts, hundreds of runs.
People pay an exorbitant amount of money for a family experience on a resort, and due to lack of information, they're wasting money only experiencing portions of the resort because they don't know how to get around, or they're too afraid to go venture out and not be able to make it back.
They don't know what's open, what's closed.
We've talked to people that they'll stick to one lift. They're missing out on 90% of the resort because the information's not there to get the full experience.
Which is why we started Alpine Media Technology, to deliver that information.
Hi, I'm Freddie Pyle. I'm the CEO and one of the co-founders of Alpine Media Technology. Advertising is everywhere. Brands and agencies spend over $240 billion just in the US trying to connect with consumers. And they are constantly looking for ways to stand out from the crowd and break free of the clutter. It was on a weekend ski trip when one of my co-founders, Garrett, was telling us about gas pump advertising. And why people like it so much, or why advertisers like it so much, is because you have a captive audience while people are filling up their gas tank. It was during that I jokingly said, you know where you have a captive audience? It's on a chairlift. Turns out, the average chairlift ride is about 8 minutes long, and guests spend about 60 to 75 minutes a day on a chairlift, probably one of the most captive audiences out there. We spent a lot of time thinking about how we could deliver advertising to chairlifts. And what we quickly realized is that advertising, if done improperly, can actually push people away as opposed to draw them in. And we thought, what if there was some way to combine the advertising with content that skiers and riders are looking for on a regular basis? The average family of 4 spends over $6,000 on a 3-day ski trip. So imagine the frustration that my friend Ryan must have experienced when he came upon this. This lift had been closed for over a half hour by the time he got there, but he had no knowledge of it. Make matters worse, this lift was closed for nearly half the day, and the only way out of here was to take off your gear and hike an hour back uphill in ski boots to where he could then ski down to another part of the mountain. Now, these events don't happen often, but when they do, they are incredibly frustrating to guests, and they can be incredibly costly to the resort. But skiers and riders are looking for a lot of other information throughout the day beyond just what lifts are closed. They want to know what runs are open and when the next après-ski begins. And resorts, they've used some pretty antiquated technology, from really complex paper maps, dry erase boards, and analog clocks that only seem to work half the time. We think that there's a much better way to do this, which is why we developed our all-mountain platform. It starts on the chairlift. It's a patent-pending, batteryless technology that delivers real-time, resort-specific information to guests while they're making that 8-minute lift ride to the summit. We deliver information like grooming reports, weather reports, even the traffic report back to town. Let me show you how it works. We start by digitizing summer and winter trail maps, and we provide the resort with a modern web app that allows them to control lift status and run status and current events that are happening around the resort. And we bring in other information like snow reports, weather reports, and the traffic report. We pull all this information together and we deploy it across the resort to screens located on chairlifts, in gondolas, in lift lines, in lodges, in hotel rooms, even on a mobile app. And you guys can go and see it for yourself today at Winter Park and at Steamboat. Now, advertising in the out-of-home space is typically sold for about $20 per 1,000 impressions. But because of our highly captive and affluent audience, we can sell some of our inventory for upwards of $100 per 1,000 impressions. We started on one resort with one advertiser. We raised $1 million seed round and expanded to 4 resorts and signed a multi-year contract with Altera Mountain Company, the creators of the Icon Pass, and brought on 14 advertisers across a range of different industries. We're contracted to install over 1,000 displays this coming year, but we're not stopping there. We're talking to some of the biggest ownership groups in the industry to install over 7,500 displays, generating over $33 million in annual recurring revenue in the coming years. We're starting in ski resorts, and our research indicates this is a $2 billion global opportunity for us, but we're not stopping there. We're looking at beach resorts, amusement parks, pretty much any vacation destination where access to information can improve the overall guest experience. We have the team to grow this business. My training at Harvard and 15 years in management consulting have prepared me to lead this company as the CEO. Garrett, one of our other co-founders, his time in the Marines and in the financial services have given them the tools to oversee our operations and revenue. And our engineer, our third co-founder, Jeff, has built some incredible things with Boeing and DARPA. Nick and Garen head up our sales and marketing and have over 20 years experience with some of the biggest brands or the biggest companies in the out-of-home space. And we're backed by some of the best advisors around, ranging from ski to media. At Alpine Media Technology, we believe that we can deliver ads alongside useful content and improve the overall guest experience. We're Alpine Media Technology, and we're changing the way brands and resorts connect with guests. Thank you.